students who had to graduate during the pandemic and get
Mhm,
thrown into it because we were just so short staffed. I feel for you because I understand that this is
mhm,
even before the pandemic and everything. But
mhm.
yeah, that was my interest into nursing. My first night off of orientation, I was charge nurse with 2 admissions and no unit secretary and an aide that
Yeah.
had bad knees and could barely walk, and we had to do vital signs every 2 hours.
Oh,
Wait a
wow.
minute, wait a minute. You said an aide that had bad knees.
Bad knees and could barely walk. Yeah. I've had numerous jobs over my years. I started out working in the lab in high school and college,
Oh.
in the lab department,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and realized that was not for me. It was too repetitive.
Right.
Right.
I kind of crave a little bit of adrenaline there. I need
Mhm.
variety. I'm the variety person. So that's where geriatrics suits me very well because the day is never the same.
I
Well, most of the time when you think of a nurse practitioner, people always describe us as being just under a doctor. And I
Mhm.
kind of like to say, well, yes and no. Because we marry that nursing background that we have that you think of with the typical nurse,
Right.
and then we add in some of the role that the physician would have. But
Mhm.
we certainly know our place, right? I'm not a surgeon. I don't go cutting on people, right?
Right.
Mhm.
But I can help you manage your chronic diseases, which is something that nurses and nurse practitioners are very good at. I can diagnose an acute illness and write your prescription for your strep throat. Mhm.
So with any type of service work, is that something that you knew when you were young, you wanted to be a nurse, or just as, like you said, you started in the lab, you knew that wasn't for you? Was the medical field something you were always interested in?
Yes.
Mhm.
Well, okay. I did also wanted to be an astronaut and go into astrophysics until I took my physics class in high school, and then I realized, no, I don't want to do that.
Yep.
But I did consider a lot. I always knew I was going to be in science. I didn't know what, but I always knew I was going to be in science. I thought about marine biology at one time. I mean, I looked at all kinds of things, and I settled on medicine when I
Mm.
went to college. I was pre med. I was planning on going to medical school, and as I got further and closer to it, I realized I don't want to do that.
Mhm.
So I made the decision to take a gap year after I was a fifth year senior and get a job working in a nursing home till I figured out what I wanted to do. And that's when I saw what the nurses did. And I thought, I can do that. So I called up the university that where my husband, now husband, was living, and I said, "Let me in your nursing school. I want to transfer." This is 2 weeks before the semester started, by the way.
Oh,
And
wow.
they said, "Oh well, you have to get accepted into the school, the university first." I said, "No problem. Here are my transcripts." They let me in. They said, "Now you have to get accepted into the School of Nursing." So they sent my transcripts over and they were excited to have me because they never had a pre-med student transfer to nursing. I've been a teacher all my life. I used to have class back when I was a kid and we would have our
Uh-huh.
own classes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would teach all my little dolls.
That was neat.
We had a grade book and everything because the teachers would give us their old grade
Yes, yes,
Yep.
same.
and
I
old
was just
textbooks.
telling
Yep.
him that. I used to get at the end of the year, my mom, oh, she would get so frustrated. But they would give away like all the extra copies of worksheets and things like
Yep.
that. And I'd come home and oh, I'd just teach all the teddy bears.
I did too. So I agreed to do it, and having that experience and the other things that I did, I got promoted and got the supervisor position at another hospital in
Mm,
psychiatry. Sure, nurses get the good foundation when they build their business because I've been getting a lot of 911 calls.
mm,
Hey, the state came in and audited me, and now I need training on this and this and this for my staff, or hey, I need help because there's a part of a regulation I didn't meet, and now I got to fix things, and then. And so I thought, well, what if we just start off with a good foundation so that you don't have to have those 911 calls?
right.
Right. Right.
So that was the idea behind the Nurse Shark Academy. And of course, I was watching a lot of Shark Tank at the time.
Mhm.
And I was looking for a name and I kept saying, well, Nurse Boss is taken. And, I thought about Nurse Babe, but then I don't like the idea of that because we're trying to
Right.
get away from, the sexy nurse trope. And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
so I was trying to figure something out. And I said, shark, shark. It just kept coming back to me. And I said, well, what's a shark? And a shark is an expert in their field. Most people don't know that I used to be a radio DJ.
What is it that you
happened?
don't do?
Right.
I mean,
Okay, so this is
what is
how
it
it
that you
happened.
haven't done?
In high school, I ran out of classes to take. I could have graduated, okay? I had a semester left and I didn't want to graduate. I was on student council, all the stuff.
Mhm.
Plus, I just like school. And so I said, I want to take something fun. And the only thing that fit into my schedule was radio broadcasting.
Wow.
So I took radio broadcasting and I had a jazz show. It was a jazz radio station. So I did a jazz show. And then when I got to college, I decided to also do radio and I had a gospel show. So I was Lady T, which by the way is still my gaming.